On the night of December 29, 2003, a man returned home from work, but something was wrong. His front door was firmly locked, and the entire house was eerily silent. He knocked, called out to his wife, but there was no response. That was when he noticed something unusual. A small window in the northern room was left unlocked. Peering inside, he spotted his wife's handbag. Reaching through the opening, he retrieved the keys and unlocked the door. As he stepped inside, a horrifying scene unfolded before his eyes. His 31-year-old wife and their 2 children lay lifeless. The windows were all shut tight. The security bars showed no signs of damage, and the apartment was on the 7th floor. An outsider breaking in seemed impossible. The terrifying question loomed: who had done this, and how? Suspicion quickly fell on a close acquaintance of the family, Lee, a former classmate of the wife. Lee had frequently visited their home, making her presence seem natural. At first, she acted as a concerned friend, but detectives noticed something odd. Faint rope marks were visible on her hands. When confronted and pressured by investigators, she finally confessed to an unthinkable crime. That night, Lee had entered the family's home as if it were just another friendly visit, but her intentions were far from innocent. She first lured the young son into a small room, strangled him, and hid his body in a closet. Then she approached Mrs. Park with a sinister smile.
"I have a surprise for you,"
she said. Trusting her friend, Mrs. Park closed her eyes, unaware of the noose hanging from the doorframe above her. At that moment, Lee wrapped the rope around her neck and tightened it. Mrs. Park, holding her 10-month-old daughter in her arms, struggled desperately. But in a tragic twist, her motherly instincts kept her from letting go of her child, making resistance nearly impossible. As Mrs. Park took her final breath, Lee turned her attention to the baby and cruelly ended her life in the same way. After carrying out the horrific murders, Lee locked the front door from the inside, placed the key back into Mrs. Park's handbag, and threw it through the window into the northern room, creating the illusion of an impossible crime. Then she walked away, as if nothing had ever happened. But the truth could not remain hidden forever. A shocking revelation soon surfaced. Lee and the husband had been having an affair. Blinded by jealousy and obsession, Lee had committed an unforgivable crime. In the end, justice was served. Lee was sentenced to life in prison, but no punishment could ever undo the horrors of that fateful night. If you want to know more about it, please subscribe.